Yes, yes, Sunil.
Right. Thank you. Fine. Let's open the notepad. So far, we discussed few topics. Till fifth topic we discussed. So once we create the reports and dashboards, let me go here, app.powerbi.com, user 35. Let's go to the project workspace, 7 p.m. project workspace. We prepared one data set, and on top of data set, we created few reports. And on top of the reports, we created some dashboards. Fine. So we created some dashboards. Just count will increase. The work we are going to do is same. We'll prepare a data set. First, we'll bring the data set to project workspace. And on top of that, we create reports. On top of that, we'll create the dashboards, guys. Now, so the data sets will show, the reports will show old data. So in the data set, if you observe here, the data you have till 2nd April. 2nd April 2021. Today is 6th of April. What is today's date? 6th of April. And you have the data in the data set till 2nd of April. 2nd of April. 2nd of April. So from 2nd April till today, you will be getting the new data to the data sources. So to the data sources, every day new data will come. But in the data set, we have the data till only 2nd April. On top of this data set, we created the reports. Report 1, report 2, report 3. And on top of reports, we create dashboards, dashboard 1. And these reports and dashboards we share with the clients. So when the client open the report and dashboard, he's expecting to see the new data in the reports and dashboards. So always this report, now when they open, every day when client open this report or this dashboard, it will show the data till 2nd April only. 2nd April only it will show the data. Till 2nd April it will show the data. So meantime, you might, so from 2nd April to 6th April, you might get the new data through the data sources, and the data client is expecting to see in the reports and dashboards. When they want to see, first you need to bring that new data to the data set. Whatever the new data you are getting into the data sources, you need to bring that new data to the data set. To bring that new data, you need to refresh the data set. When you click on refresh the data set, the new data from the data sources will come to this data set. As soon as you got the new data here, the reports will show the new data, the dashboards will show the new data, right? So if you want to refresh the data set, so directly when I refresh this data set, the refresh will fail. When I refresh any data set now, directly the refresh will fail. It will not succeed, guys. It will fail. So look at this. You will see one warning message here. The refresh failed. So the refresh got failed. So what we need to do, when I directly refresh it, the refresh will fail. If you want to successfully refresh the data set, we need a software called Gateway, guys. If you want to successfully refresh this data set, if you want to successfully need to bring the new data from the data sources to the data set, you need one software called Gateway software, guys. So why we need to refresh the data set? To show up-to-date data in reports and dashboards, we need to refresh the data set. So what are the reports and dashboards we developed here? To show up-to-date data in the reports and dashboards to our clients, we need to refresh the data set. So either you can manually refresh it or you can automate it. Schedule refresh every day at so and so time. I want to every day at midnight 1 a.m. I need to go to my data sources. I need to bring the new data to the data set. You can schedule refresh it. So and so time every day, you can schedule refresh it. To refresh or to schedule refresh, we need one software called Data Gateway, an important topic. So whenever you need to move the data from on-premise sources to the cloud, look at this. Whenever we need to move the data from, whenever you are getting the new data in the data sources like Excel and SQL Server to the data set which is there in the Power BI service, whenever you need to move the data from on-premise data sources to the cloud, you need one software called Data Gateway software. Using the Data Gateway software only, we can move it. If you don't have the Data Gateway software, it is not possible to move the data from on-premise data sources to the cloud. Right? What is this Data Gateway software? Where we need to install it, how we need to configure it is important thing, guys. Lot of navigation will be involved. So what you need to understand, first of all, what is gateway and how to install it and where to install it and how to configure it to refresh the data set. If you want to refresh this data set successfully, we need to do some configuration. Where to configure it is important, guys. Here, there will be a lot of navigation involved. This topic contains a lot of navigation, installing the gateway, configuring the gateway. A lot of technical words will be involved there. What I'll do is, so I'll share one video with you about just gateways. You'll get one video. Please go through the video. That video will clearly explain what is the need of gateway. First of all, what is the need of gateway? Once we understand need of gateway, that video will explain the definition of gateway, and that video will explain how to install it and where to install it, and that video will explain how to configure the gateway. Once you done with this three, installing and configuring, you are good to refresh the data set. So might be even when I explain that in the class, you tomorrow when you are practicing it, for sure you need some assistance, guys. Why? Because there is a lot of navigation involved. I request you just go to the video. You'll get one video and try to install the gateway. Try to understand every word. When you go to the interview, so there will be no interview without questions on gateway. Without questions on gateway, there will be no interview. So not one question. Even they will ask 2-3 questions on just gateway itself. If you can understand that video thoroughly, you can answer any sort of questions. Please go through it. Once you are done with listening to this video, you should be in the position to refresh the data set successfully, to schedule refresh the data set. So once you are done with listening to this video, what you need to do? You should be in the position to refresh this data set. Refresh this data set is nothing but what? Bringing the new data from the data sources to the data set. You need to bring that. You can even in the position to schedule refresh it. So you don't need to manually refresh it every day. Every day so and so time, refresh it. As soon as it got the new data, the reports and dashboards will show new data. So only thing is you need to refresh the data set. You don't need to refresh reports. You don't need to refresh dashboards separately. As soon as your data set got refreshed, the reports and dashboards will show new data. So only thing is you just need to refresh or schedule refresh it. Just go through this video, follow the steps and do that. If you have any questions, I'll discuss them in tomorrow's class. Then the next topic we'll start with is workspace subfolders. We'll talk about understanding workspace subfolders. I'll come here, sharing the content with Power BI, we'll discuss, and team collaboration, we'll discuss. Today, we'll try to start with understanding the workspace subfolders. Once we are done with the 9th topic, then I'll discuss 8th topic. Once we are done with the 8th topic, then I'll discuss 7th topic. I'll come in the reverse way now. So just now, we'll try to understand workspace subfolders. Totally, when we start any project, we'll create one workspace. Once you create one workspace, that workspace will contain 3 subfolders. This is main folder and it contains 3 subfolders. Datasets plus data flows, content, all. So datasets and data flows will contain datasets plus data flows. We never heard about data flows. So far, We never heard about data flows. First time we are listening this word. What is this data flows? Datasets and data flows folder will save data flows and datasets. We will understand what is data flows, how to create them, how to use them. So we know about datasets, where we will create the dataset, how we will create the dataset to the datasets folder. We already know about it. And content folder will contain reports, dashboards, workbooks. We know what is reports, where we will develop it. We know dashboards, where we will develop it. But there is one more thing called what? Workbooks. We'll understand what is this workbooks. So how we don't know about data flows, we don't even know about workbooks also. We'll understand. But we are aware of what is datasets, where we will develop it, how to bring it. We are aware of what is reports, where we will develop it, how to bring it. We are aware of what is dashboards, where we will develop it, how to bring it. So in the same way, all folder will contain all the 5 contents: data flows, datasets, reports, dashboards, workbooks. So whatever you find in these 2 folders, all the content you can find in the all folder. Totally these 5 types of content will store in the workspace. In the workspace, they might ask you in the interview, in the project workspace, what are the types of content we'll store? We'll store data flows, we'll store data sets, we'll store reports, we'll store dashboards, we'll store workbooks. You need to know each one, what each one is. First, we'll try to understand one by one subfolder. First, I'll start with data sets and data flows. And then we'll discuss about content. And then we'll go to all folder, data sets plus data flows. In the datasets plus data flows, we'll store datasets as well as data flows. Okay, fine. What is data flows here? So, what is data flows? If you want to understand about the data flows, I'll write one line definition here. Data flows is a browser-based ETL software. Browser-based ETL software. Data flows is a browser-based ETL software. What? If you want to start learning about the data flows here, if you want to create the data flows here, in this folder, data flows, you can create in Power BI service. You can create in Power BI service. So why we need to create the data flows? How we will create the data flows in the Power BI service? To create the data flows, we need gateway software, guys. Look at this. When I go to new, there is an option called data flow. When I want to create a data flow, define new entities, I'll discuss all this. No worries. When I click on this, so to create a data flow, what we need is we need gateway, on-premise data gateway. For now, you people don't have any idea about gateway, right? Anyway, today you guys will go through this video tomorrow, and before tomorrow's class, you will go and understand about this gateway. I request please go through that video. So once you are done with listening to this video, tomorrow in a detailed way, what is this data flows? Why we need to create the data flows and where to use the data flows, tomorrow I'll discuss. So before I start data flows tomorrow, you need to have the idea on this gateway software, guys. So to create the data flow, we need to use the gateway software. So as we don't have the idea, I will not start it now. I'll start it tomorrow. Today we'll discuss more about the data set. So where we will develop the data set? Data set will be developed in Power BI Desktop. Majority of the cases, data set will be developed in Power BI Desktop and be published to Power BI service case. Data set developed in Power BI Desktop and be published to datasets folder and published to datasets and data flows folder. So once you publish the dataset will be sitting in this folder. So dataset, what a dataset will contain, we know. Dataset will contains all the ETL code and all the Power Query code will be there in the dataset, as well as Power Pivot code also will be there in the dataset. Power Pivot code. Dataset will contains complete Power Query code as well as Power Pivot code. So we know when you publish any report, you'll get one dataset, you'll get one report. So what a dataset contains, what a report contains, we know. Dataset will contains complete Power Query and Power Pivot code together. Now, there are some options beside the dataset. So look at this, there are a lot of options beside the dataset. Look at it. So refresh, schedule refresh. Anyway, when you install the gateway, in the gateway video, you find explanation about this refresh, explanation about this schedule refresh. the gateway video which I am going to share, that video will explain about these two options. And there are remaining options. Today, I'll go and discuss about remaining options here. There are remaining options. So even the remaining options are important at dataset level. The topic for today is dataset options. Dataset options, or we can also call it as dataset actions. Actions. So what are the different actions we can perform at the dataset level? So this we call it as dataset actions. What are the different actions we will perform? So refresh and schedule refresh. By tomorrow, you should be very clear how to utilize these two options. The next one is analyze in Excel. Once you prepare the dataset, some people, they're comfortable in Excel. So what we will do with the dataset? We'll connect to the dataset. You'll perform some analysis in where? Power BI desktop. You'll create a report. You'll connect to the dataset from Power BI desktop, and you can create some report. You can perform some analysis. We'll open Power BI desktop, and the dataset can be accessed from Power BI desktop. And whatever the data you have in the dataset, you can perform some analysis in the Power BI desktop report, guys. We know it. So once you open Power BI desktop, from the Power BI desktop, you can connect to the dataset, and you can perform some analysis in the Power BI desktop. So not only in Power BI desktop, you can even connect to the same dataset from the Excel also. Excel is also one reporting tool, guys. How Power BI desktop is one reporting tool, how we are connecting to this dataset from Power BI desktop, how we are performing some analysis there. We can even connect to this dataset from Excel, and we can even perform some analysis in the Excel file. Look at this. Click on get data. So Power BI developers, they are comfortable with Power BI desktop software. They will just do the analysis in Power BI desktop only. Let me sign in first here. User 35. What happened? Just wait. Just 1 second. Fine, let me give you the password here. So once we logged in, we can access the dataset. Click on dataset, provide the dataset name. How we can connect to the dataset from Power BI desktop? Once I select the dataset, when I click on create, it will connect to the dataset, and we can start performing some analysis. What is the total sales we have? Or what is each region wise percentage sales? I want to create one visual where I want to show each region wise percentage of sales. Orders table I have. I can drag the region column, and when I want to see the percentage of sales, I can drag the percentage sales here. So you can see some visual, each region wise percentage sales. Same way, how we are connecting to the dataset from Power BI desktop. Same way, from Excel also we can connect to this dataset, and we can perform some analysis in Excel file also. How to do that is, go here, you have an option called Analyze in Excel. When I click on Analyze in Excel, as a Power BI developer, we never do it, guys. Why? Because, so rather than Excel, Power BI desktop is an advanced tool to perform the analysis. We know Power BI. There are some users who don't know Power BI, who know Excel. They can make use of this option. So we can open Excel. So what it will do is, from this Excel, it will establish a connection to our data set. Click on this. It will establish a connection to this, guys. Click on next. So look at this. You are able to see all the tables which are there in the data set. I can even perform analysis here. I can create some pivot table. So I want to show what here? Region wise sales. I'll go and select region column. Region wise, what I need is percentage of sales. I'll go and click on percentage of sales here. Whatever results you are seeing here, each region, how much percentage of sales you have. The same analysis I'm able to perform analysis here. So if you want to connect to this data set, from the Excel. If you want to perform some analysis in Excel, you can click on what? Just analyze in Excel. It will open an Excel. It will establish a connection to the data set from Excel, guys. So what I'm telling here, we never analyze the data. As a Power BI developer, we never analyze the data in Excel. We always do it with using what? Power BI desktop only. But there is an option. So there are some business users who are comfortable with Excel. If they want to connect to this data set from their Excel, if they want to perform analysis in their Excel files, you can provide a provision to them. And next option is create report. So on dataset, we can create the report in two ways. In Power BI, on a dataset, we can create the reports in two ways. Reports in two ways, guys. What are the two ways we will create the report is? One way, from Power BI desktop, you can create a report. Power BI desktop. So Power BI desktop, what you need to do? Click on get data. From Power BI desktop, how can you create a report using the dataset? Get data. Power BI datasets. Option in the get data, what you need to use? Power BI dataset. This is one way to create a report. What are the dataset you have in the project workspace? One way to create the report on the dataset is open the Power BI desktop file, go to get data, click on Power BI dataset and create a report. Second way is directly in the Power BI service you can create the report, guys. Directly in the Power BI service we can create the report. Power BI service, what you need to do in the Power BI service is go to the dataset. In the Power BI service, how we can create the report is open the workspace. Once we open the workspace, go to the datasets folder. In the dataset, you have dataset options. Once you go to the dataset, you'll find dataset options. You'll find create report. So open the workspace, go to the dataset, go to the dataset options. In the dataset options, you will find create report. So you can even create the report in the Power BI service itself. Using this create report option, we can even create the report in the Power BI service itself. So when you connect to a dataset from Power BI desktop, whatever you are seeing here, a report canvas, filters pane, visualization pane, fields pane, whatever you are able to see in the Power BI desktop, same interface you can even see in Power BI service also. Look at this. I'm seeing report canvas, filters pane, visualization, fields pane. So this Power View software is even available in Power BI service also. Power View is nothing but from report canvas. All this comes under Power View software. You can even find it here. So we can even start creating the visuals here. Whatever the visuals you want, you can start creating here. Let's assume I want to show region-wise percentage of sales. We can even create directly from here. Go to the orders table. How you will create in the Power BI desktop, same way. There is no difference. Percentage of sales. Once you are done with creating the visuals, you can even save that report. There will be an option called save. I can give the report name as Power BI service report. I'm creating this report in the Power BI service. We'll add some extension 7 p.m. April month. So, but I recommend, even though as there is an option in the Power BI service directly to create a report, we created this report in Power BI service. Even though there is an option to create a report in the Power BI service, we will never use it. Whenever we need to create a report using this dataset, we'll connect to this dataset from Power BI desktop and we will create the report in Power BI desktop only. But there is a way. It's up to us. So Power BI desktop will give the better comfort when you are designing the report. So Power BI desktop is a software which was developed for doing the development activities. So just do the development in Power BI desktop only. But there is a way where we can create a report on it. The next one is deleting the dataset. When you delete the dataset will be deleted here. Whatever the dataset you are seeing, it will be deleted. So on top of dataset, we create the reports. On top of reports, we create the dashboards. What happens to them? Important question in the interview is, when you delete the dataset, what happens to the reports? What happens to the dashboards? Look at this. When I click on view lineage, there is an option in the bottom, view lineage. When I click on view lineage, what it will show? It will show the dependent objects on the dataset. On top of this dataset, what reports we developed. On top of reports, what dashboards we developed. All the dependent objects you can see in the view lineage here. So let me click on view lineage. When I click on view lineage, you can see there is a dataset here. On top of this data set, how many reports was developed? How many reports are there? 4 reports we developed. On top of reports, how many dashboards was developed? 3 dashboards was developed. You can see it. The question is, when you delete the data set, what happens to these 4 reports? What happens to this dashboards? Let me explain. So if you want to go back to the workspace, you have an option called, when you go to view, list view. We are in lineage view this time. So if you want to go back to another view, you just click on list view. In the view, when you click on list view, you can see data sets like this folder view. If you want to go back to the lineage view, click on lineage view. It will show the dependent objects here, right? Or else you can go to each data set and you can even see the dependent objects. When I go to the data set, when I go and click on view lineage, you can see the dependent objects. Now, let me explain in this way. I have one data set. Dataset 1. On top of dataset 1, I created report 1, report 2, report 3. I have dataset 2. On dataset 2, I created report 4, and there is dashboard 1, which was developed on top of report 3 and report 4, which was developed on top of report 3 and report 4. That dashboard 1 was developed on top of report 3. From report 3, I kept 3 visuals, or else 5 visuals I kept it. We kept some 5 visuals from report 3. We kept another 5 visuals from report 4. Another 5 visuals. Totally 10 high-level visuals are there in that dashboard. We know that dashboards can be created on 2 different reports. So yesterday I said it, can we create a report using these 2 data sets? Can I create one report using these 2 different data sets? Means no. A report can be developed on top of a single data set. Single data set. A report cannot be developed on top of multiple data sets. Your question is, when we delete the data set, what happens to this report? This report will be completely deleted. When you delete the data set 2, the report 4 will be completely deleted. What happens to the dashboard? What happens to the dashboard here? Dashboard will be still there, and only visuals from this report will be deleted. From this report, how many visuals you kept in this dashboard? 5 visuals. When they are deleted, how many visuals will remain same there? 5. Take an example. I have another dashboard, dashboard 2, where you kept some 5 visuals from report 1 and 5 more visuals from report 2. In dashboard 2, you kept 5 visuals from report 1, 5 more visuals from report 2. I go and delete the dataset 1. When I delete the dataset 1, what happens to this report 1? What happens to the report 1? Will it delete or will it be there? Report will be deleted. When you delete the data set, report will be deleted. What happens to this report? It will be deleted. What happens to this report? It will be deleted. What happens to this dashboard? Dashboard will be there, but no visuals will be available. A blank dashboard will be there. Why? Because in this dashboard, I kept the visuals from this report 1 and report 2. Keep in mind, when you delete the data set, the reports which was developed on top of data set will be completely deleted. And in the dashboard, the visuals which we created on top of this data set will be deleted. Only visuals will be deleted. Dashboard will be there. You can just go and delete the data set here. When I go here, look at this. On this data set, you developed one report here. When you go and delete this data set here, this report will be deleted. When you use this report in any one of the dashboard, in the dashboard, visuals which you placed from here, those will be deleted. Those will be deleted. Look at this. I'll do one thing here. From this case study, I'm going and keeping complete page, this report page. How to ping this page to the dashboard complete page? More options. Pin to dashboard, pin to dashboard. When I click on pin to dashboard, I'm pinning to an existing dashboard called sales analysis dashboard, which we created, pin live. When I click on this, in my dashboard, what I have, in the bottom, what you can see is, you can see the complete live page. Now, when I go and delete this data set, what happens to this report? It will be deleted. What happens to this dashboard? In the dashboard, which one will be deleted? This page, this complete page which we pinged, it will be deleted. Visuals will be deleted, not complete dashboard. Let's see that. I'll go here, just click on delete. When I click on delete the data set, just go to the content folder and look at the report. You don't find the report now. You are not seeing a case study report here. Now go to the dashboard and open the dashboard. When you open the dashboard, in the bottom, you will not find any visuals. I'm not seeing any visuals which we ping from that report. Fine. The next option you are finding is get quick insights. Get quick insights. So I have an Excel file. In the Excel file, within a second, within 10 seconds, I want to perform some analysis, guys. There is an option called get quick insights. I have an Excel file here. In my D drive, this PC D drive, Power BI material, Power Pivot, or else Power BI material, Power View, installing. I have one Excel file with the name financial sample. I want to perform some analysis on this Excel file, and I want to create some reports on this Excel file within less time. If you want to perform some analysis on this Excel, you need to bring it to Power BI desktop. You need to do some analysis. Within few seconds, you can perform analysis in Power BI. How can you do that is, you can bring that Excel to the datasets folder. You can bring that Excel to the datasets folder. Once you got that Excel to the datasets folder, you'll find an option called get quick insights. Let me show you how I can bring that Excel. So if you want to bring that Excel, you need to click on get data. I want to bring that Excel to the datasets folder. How can I bring it is, click on get data. When I click on get data, you'll find options, guys. I want to bring the files. Excel is a file. I want to bring the files here. So once you click on get data, click on files. In the files, click on get, guys. Click on get. So it is there in my local machine. Where the Excel file is located? In your local machine. Click on local files. Browse where it is located. This PC, D drive, Power BI material, Power View. Here, there is one file with the name financial sample. Click on open. When you open, it will ask two things. One is import. Second one is upload. For now, click on import. I'll explain what is the difference between import and upload. So when I click on import, the Excel will come to the datasets folder. When I click on import, the Excel will come to the datasets folder. Look at this. You got that Excel here. Once Excel is there in the dataset folder, you can create the reports on top of it. Can you access this dataset from Power BI desktop? Can you create a report? Yes, you can do it. So even accessing the dataset from Power BI desktop, creating the reports will take time, right? There is one option where it will perform some analysis quickly. Get quick insights. When you go to dataset options, you'll find an option called get quick insights. When you click on get quick insights, Power BI itself will create some visuals on top of this dataset, guys. What Power BI is doing in the backend is, in this dataset, how many tables we have, it will read each and every table, and it will read each and every column. Whatever the different columns you have, it will read it. With the help of that columns, it will create the visuals. With the help of columns, it will create the visuals. So look at this. Insights are ready. It is telling that your insights are ready. Click on view insights. When I click on view insights, it created a lot of visuals here. Let me increase some size so that you will get it in one page. So it created a lot of visuals. There will be some valid visuals. There will be some invalid visuals. Segment-wise discounts. Which segment is giving how much discounts? So segment-wise units sold. There will be some valid visuals. There will be some invalid visuals here. Why you will get invalid visuals here is, Power BI, this option, get quick insights option is there, right? That get quick insights option, what it will do is, it will treat all the number columns as fact columns, all the number columns as fact columns, all the date and text columns as dimension columns, date and text columns as dimension columns. So this get quick insights option will treat all the number columns as fact columns, date and text columns as dimension columns. With fact columns and dimension columns combination, it will create the visuals. So is this statement correct? All the number columns are fact columns? First tell me, all date and text columns are dimension columns? Yes, there is no doubt. All date and text columns are dimension columns. But all number columns are fact columns? No? Why no? Only the number columns which create an impact on the business, only those columns are fact columns. So if you have a row ID column, Do you think row ID is a fact column? No, it's a dimension column. But what this get quick insights will do is region wise row ID, it will show one visual. Region wise row ID is wrong visual, right? Completely. Region wise sales is a valid visual. Region wise row ID is a wrong visual. So it will treat every number column as fact column, every data and text column as dimension column. Few number columns are fact columns. Okay. That time it will give a valid visual. Few numbers columns are not fact columns, they are dimension columns. That time you will get wrong visuals, but you can perform some analysis here. So you'll see a lot of visuals. When you click on get quick insights, next time when you go here, you'll see view insights. When you go and see the view insights, there will be some valid visuals, there will be some invalid visuals. Whatever the valid visuals are there, you can understand how they are performing. Each product wise average of sales price. Is it a valid visual? Product wise average sales price. Yes, it's a valid visual. Product name is a dimension column. Sales price is what? A fact column. Yes, it's a valid visual. So like this, you will get some valid visuals here, some invalid visuals. Whatever the valid visuals you have, just segment wise unit sold. Each segment, how many units sold? Is it a valid visual? Each segment unit sold. Unit sold is a fact column only. Fact column only. It's a valid visual only. Fine, yes. So keep in mind, if you have some data, if you want to, even again, we don't use this get quick insights option. Even we don't utilize this get quick insights option. We know how to connect to this data set, how to perform some analysis. There are any cases where you need to perform some analysis quickly. Click on get quick insights. It will read each and every table in the data set. It will take all the number columns as fact columns. It will take all the data and text columns as dimension columns. With the fact columns and dimension columns, it will create a lot of visuals here. Your insights are ready. When I click on view insights, it will show a lot of things here. Fiscal year wise promotion key. It is thinking that promotion key is a fact column. Promotion key is a fact column means no, it's a dimension column. There will be some valid visuals in person wise profits. Is it a valid visual? Each person how much profits we're getting. It's a valid visual. Some valid visuals and invalid visuals. Each state wise count of returns. It's a valid visual. From which state you are getting more returns. So California is the state where we are getting the more returns. Some analysis we can do. Subcategory wise profit. Subcategory wise profit is a valid visual. Yes, tables is having very less profits and copiers is having very high profits here. So it is clearly telling tables have noticeably less profit something here. It will do some analysis on our data set quickly that you get quick insights. State-wise row ID, is it a valid visual? No, it is a invalid visual. The next one is security. We have a separate concept called row level security. In the list of topics I listed, one of the important topic is row level security. How gateway is important in the interview point of view. How this gateway topic is important in the interview point of view. Second important topic in the Power BI in the interview point of view is row level security. This option is related to row level security. When I click on this, it is showing row level security. Row level security has moved to Power BI desktop. We will discuss in 10th topic. I'll discuss about this row level security. At the time of discussing that row level security, we'll discuss about this option. And if you want to rename the data set, you can rename it from here. If you want to change any name to the data set, now it is financial sample. Instead of financial sample, I want to give the name as financial data set. Financial data set. How to rename it? Just go here, click on rename. Click on save. When I click on save, the dataset name got changed. The next one you have is settings. So when you install the gateway, I said that we need to configure the gateway. We need to give the gateway connection information, something here. When you go to the settings, in the settings, we can give the gateway connection. So we can even schedule refresh it here. In the gateway video itself, you'll see about these two options. How to give the gateway connection here, how to schedule refresh the dataset here. You can find it. It will come time to time. And if we required to change any settings, default settings, we'll go here, we'll change it. We'll discuss time to time. For now, keep it on hold. The next one is download the PBIX file. So at the time of developing this data set, so my client said that on this data set, they want 10 reports. So my client asked me to create 10 reports initially. When I start this project, initially my client asked me to create 10 reports. Keeping in mind this 10 reports, I prepared this data set. When we are running the project after 1 month or 2 months, along with these 10 reports, client is asking to create 2 more reports. So first, at the time of starting this project, client said that they need only 10 reports. Keeping in mind these 10 reports, I developed this data set. In middle, they got some new requirement where they want additional 2 more reports. Might be the data set which I prepared here, might be it will be suitable, it will serve this 2 reports functionality, might not, guys. So why? Because this is a new requirement. So at the time of starting this data set, I don't have this requirement. So might be this data set will not serve this current requirement. Then what we need to do? We need to make some changes to the data set. Even these 2 reports, I want to create on top of the same data set. Along with the tables which you have already, might be you need some new tables, or along with the new DAX calculations what you have here, you might need some new DAX calculations. In the 2 reports which I need to create, they might ask me to create some additional information. So that time you need to make some changes to this data set. How can you make some changes to the data set? You need to open that in the Power BI desktop. You need to make the changes. You need to republish it. If you have the data set somewhere saved, in Power BI desktop or in your company shared folder, you can open the data set in Power BI desktop. You can change it. But unfortunately, I don't have a saved copy. When you don't have a saved copy, what we can do? We can just go to the data set, download the PBX file. This download the PBX file will help us to download this data set to your local machine. Once you download it to your local machine, you can open it. You can open this in Power BI desktop. You can make the changes to the data set. You can republish it. I already explained, I think, right? How to do that? Simple. Just let me go to downloads folder. Already I downloaded it. I'll remove it and I'll re-download it. Or this. Fine. It is not there. So I'll go and download it. Go here, click on download the PBX file. When I click on download the PBX file, the dataset will come to Power BI desktop. Once the dataset is there in the Power BI desktop, once the dataset there in the download folder, it will be there in the downloads folder. Just open it, double click on it. When you double click on it, it will start opening the dataset in Power BI desktop. Once it opens the dataset in the Power BI desktop, modify it. Whatever the new tables you want, bring it. Whatever the new DAX formulas you want, create it. And once you are done with the changes, republish it. When you republish it, what it will ask? It will ask, do you want to override the existing data set? Click on yes. When you click on yes, the new changes will come to here. As soon as your new changes came to this data set, what you can do? You can even create the additional 2 reports on top of the same data set. Whenever you want to modify any data set, existing data set, if you don't have a copy of that somewhere saved, you can directly go to Power BI service. You can download that and you can make the changes. Look at this. The data set got opened. Whatever the new table you want, I want financial table. Along with the tables, I want another Excel file called financial table into my Power BI. Just click on get data. It is there in the Excel, and somewhere it is there in D drive. So there is one Excel with the name financial sample. Click on open. I want an additional table here. To create the 2 more reports, I want some additional tables. Select the table, click on load. And if you want to create some DAX calculation, go to the data view, create some new measures, what you want to show in the 2 reports. Go to the data view. So if you want to create some additional information in any table, go and select the table. If you want to create some measures, create some measures. And once you are done with making the changes, just click on save and just click on republish. When I click on publish, you can publish it to the project workspace. There is a workspace with 7 PM project workspace. Click on select. It will ask, do you want to overwrite the data set? Yes. When you replace it, it will impact 4 reports and 3 dashboards. On top of the data set, there is 4 reports and 3 dashboards. No problem. Why? Because we haven't removed any tables, anything. We added new table. When you add any new table, it will not create any problem. Click on replace. As soon as you click on replace, in this data set now, will you see that financial table in this data set? Yes. When you go and check it here, create report, you can even see the financial table there. Look at this. This is the table which we added recently to the data set. Now, when you are creating the reports on top of this data set, you can still access the table. Now download the RDL file. So this RDL is, there is two types of software. Power BI Desktop is one software, and there is one more software called Power BI Report Builder. Power BI Report Builder. There is a concept called paginated reports. So whatever we are going to develop in Power BI Desktop, they are interactive reports. Power BI Desktop, whatever we are developing, we call it as interactive reports. There is other concept called paginated reports. If you see, in the older days, we used to get a postpaid bill, mobile bill. In a month, how much you used, you'll get one bill. So it contains 3-4 pages. So if you have a credit card, every month you'll get credit card bill. Credit card bill will contain multiple pages, page 1, page 2, page 3, like that. Whenever you need to create some paginated reports, we call them as paginated reports, guys. Credit card bill. So when you go to a hospital, so they will generate one bill for you. When there are a lot of medicines, page 1, page 2, page 3. Whenever you want paginated reports, Power BI Desktop will not work. Power BI Desktop, we can develop only interactive reports. Paginated reports we cannot develop with Power BI Desktop. So if you want to develop that, there is a separate software called Power BI Report Builder. No worries, you no need to know about the software, Power BI Report Builder. So there is a separate software. How Power BI Desktop is there? How Power BI Desktop is there? This is Power BI Desktop software. Same way, Microsoft even developed one more software called Power BI Report Builder. Power BI Report Builder. This is Power BI Report Builder, guys. Using this software, what we will do is we will create paginated reports. So that paginated reports also we will publish it to Power BI service only. We will share it from Power BI service. That paginated report extension you will get as RDL. This RDL is the right, that paginated reports thing. You no need to know about it. You no need to know about this Power BI Report Builder. You no need to know about what is paginated reports. Even when they ask you in the interviews, tell them I never worked on it. When they ask you, have you worked on Power BI Report Builder? Have you developed any paginated reports? Your answer should be what? No. You can develop the paginated reports. So when you develop any reports, the extension you will get it is RDL. When you develop a report using that Power BI Report Builder, you will get an extension RDL. Just ignore it. Just ignore it for now. Then the next one is manage permissions. Before we go to manage permissions, we already discussed about view lineage. When you click on view lineage, it will graphically show you the dependent objects. It will graphically show you the dependent objects. Let's talk about manage permissions. One important question in the interview is, who are the people can access this data set? So only the people who are there in this workspace can access, or even, so to take an example, there is workspace 1 and there is workspace 2. In the workspace 1, there is user 1 and user 2. In the workspace 2, there is user 3. So in workspace 1, how many users are there? User 1 and user 2. In workspace 2, how many users are there? User 3. Now there is one data set in the workspace 1. Dataset 1 is there. Dataset 1, can user 1 access dataset 1? Can user 1 access dataset 1? Yes. Can user 2 access dataset 1? Yes. Can user 3 access dataset 1? No. By default, only the people who are there in the workspace, they can access it, guys. Why we will create one workspace? So the same company will start 2 projects also. So my company, ABC company, is there. ABC company started project 1. For the project 1, they created workspace 1. In that project 1, user 1 is working, user 2 is working, and there is one data set. Both user 1 and user 2 can access it. Same way, the same ABC company started project 2. For the project 2, they created what? Workspace 2. And who is working in this project 2? User 3 is working. So in the project 1, so user 1 created this data set for 2 months of time. So sometimes when it's a complex data set, it will take a lot of time, or else take 1 month of time he created it. So this ABC company in the project 1, they have a plan of creating some 20 reports. They created the 20 reports by using this data set with the help of user 1 and user 2. Okay, everything is completed in the project 1. In the project 1, user 1 created a data set. For 1 month of time, that data set was accessed by user 1 and user 2. They created the 20 reports they shared with their customers. Okay, we are done with project 1. So the same ABC company started project 2. In the project 2, they're planning to create 10 reports. And they hired one person called user 3 to create the 10 reports. So, but luckily, whatever the 10 reports user 3 want to create, this data set is sufficient. In the workspace project 1, whatever the data set was created, the data set is sufficient to create these 10 reports. Then what we need to do? One way, we need to even republish this data set to another workspace, and user 3 need to use that data set. So there is a same duplicate copy in the workspace 1 and workspace 2. You don't need to have it. So there are some cases, the data set which is there in one project workspace, that is sufficient for other project people also. So in the older days, when there is a data set in one workspace, only that workspace people can use it. Other workspace people, they are not able to use it. But now they implemented a concept called shared data sets. Shared data sets, where we can share the data sets with other workspace people also. Now, whatever the data set you have here, so in this, you have how many users are there in this project workspace, where you can check it? Access. When I go to access, I can see who are the people who have the access. User 35, user 36, user 37 is there. He is working for project 2, another project. Even in the project 2, they are planning to create 10 reports. For the 10 reports, this data set is sufficient. When this data set is sufficient for creating the 10 reports, what is one way? Now user 37 will open Power BI desktop here. Let me open one Power BI desktop file. I'll log in with user 37 this time. I'll open Power BI desktop. I'll open Power BI desktop file. I'll log in with user 37. When I log in with user 37, tell me. When I log in with, I'll log in with user 37. I'll try to access this data set. User 37 can access this data set? No. Let me log in first. Let me try it, guys. Close here. Click on sign in. I'll log in with user 37 here. User 37 at Power BI training.in. Once I click on continue, it will ask me to provide the password. Let me give the password of user 37. So when I try to click on get data, when I click on Power BI data sets, when I try to give this data set name, he will not access, guys. When we give this, we are not supposed to see this data set. Okay. So if user 37 want to access the data set, what we need to do? We need to add user 37 to this workspace. When you add user 37 to this workspace, he will not only get the access to this data set, he will get the access to this data set. He will even get the access to the reports and dashboards, what they developed. He can even make the changes in the reports and dashboards. But so he is not a person. He is not working for this project. He just want to access only one data set. He don't want to access the complete project related content. So user 37 is the person who is working for another project. He just want to get the access to this data set. If you want to get the access to the complete workspace, like all the data sets, all the reports, if you want to work on the same project, then going to the access, adding the user 37 is not a wrong one. But this time that is not the case. He's working in another project, he just want to access it. What you can do is, you can share the data set with the users who are working in other workspaces also. How can you share this data set with the users who are working in other workspaces? Just go here. There is an option called what? Manage permissions. When I click on manage permissions, who are the people who have the access so far? User 35 and 36. What they are? Owners. Owners means they are physically available in this workspace. Right? Now you can just add another person also to that. So you want to add whom now? User 37. So there are two permissions here. Allow recipient to reshare the artifact. You are sharing this data set with user 37. Tomorrow user 37, if you want to change it, share it with user 38, you want to give the permissions or not. This is nothing but reshare permission. So now you are sharing this data set to 37. Tomorrow 37, if you want to share it with 38, do you want to give the permissions or not? I don't want to give this permission. Uncheck this. And the next option is what? allow recipients to build the new content from underlying dataset. Do you want to give this permission? You are adding user 37. Do you want to give this permission? Allow recipient. Recipient is nothing but this user 37 to build the new content from underlying dataset. You want to give it or not? Yes, you want to give this permission. We are planning to share this dataset to user 37 to create the new reports and new dashboards on top of it. Yes, we need to keep this checkbox. Click on add. As soon as you click on add, you'll get user 37. User 37, he is not the owner. He have what permissions? Read and build permissions. Now tell me, can he access the dataset now? Click on get data. When I go to Power BI datasets, can I access the dataset now? Means yes. Even though the dataset was developed by what? User 35. User though it is there in which workspace? Project 7 PM April 20. In that workspace, user 37 is there. It is user 37 is not there in this workspace, but still he is able to access it. So we call this kind of dataset as shared datasets. We are sharing the dataset with the users who are working in other workspaces also. I can create it. Once I select it, I can create a report here. I can publish this report to my workspace. So user 37, he will log on to Power BI service. He will create one workspace for the project. For which project he created it, he can publish it to it. You can have one dataset. The dataset can be accessed in multiple workspaces also. These are the different options. Tomorrow, I'll discuss about data flows. If I want to discuss about data flows, you need to have clear idea about gateways. Please go through the gateway video and try to understand how to refresh, how to schedule refresh. Tomorrow I'll talk about this data flows. What is data flows? Why we need to create it? How to create it? So before we stop for today, anybody have any questions?
Unmuted.
So from desktop, like from Power BI desktop, can we connect to multiple data sets?
You cannot connect. It is not possible to connect to multiple data sets either from Power BI desktop or Power BI service. A report can be developed on top of a single data set only.
Okay.
Already I shared it. So if you see in the introduction classes, I shared some files, source files and materials. In that you can find them. I'm going to 7 PM March 2021 Power BI files. There, I'll go to a report called Power BI Service Notes. I'll add a new page here, page 5. Just click on edit. Yes. Right. So I'll add page 5 and I'll add some text box here and I'll write something here. Like today we discussed about dataset options. Dataset options. At a high level today I discussed about dataset options. I'm giving the name as, right, tell me, you want? See, download it. Don't try to have this in the Power BI service. Some people might don't even delete it also. Whenever I publish something, download it and keep it in your local machine. Might be if someone by mistake, if they deleted it, it will create, you don't find that content again, right? So I can give the date inside